Today we're going to be adding a dash cam to the Jeep Wrangler. So why are we adding this? Well, there's the obvious reasons of traffic accidents and supporting you in an insurance claim. I do a lot of road trips and travel a lot of distances and leave my Jeep parked in a lot of places. So I've been wanting to add a little bit more security to the Jeep, but there's also another reason. A lot of things happen on the trail that I tend to miss on camera, and it would be nice if something was always recording and I could flag it and add it to a future video potentially. So what are we gonna be installing? We have the BlackVue DR900X. And this is not the only camera in this kit. We have the 2-channel kit. Here's the other camera right here. So we're gonna be installing both of these. We have a forward-facing camera and a rear-facing camera that can capture incidents in both directions. The other cool thing about having the rear camera and where we're gonna mount it in the Jeep is that it's gonna keep an eye on our cargo area, because we're gonna mount it on the rear roll bar and not the rear window because we have a soft top. So today we'll take a look at some of the features of the BlackVue DR900X 2-channel, how I installed both cameras in my Jeep, and then we'll take a look at some of the video quality and some of my thoughts and why I like it. Now, I did select this camera setup out of a whole lot of different dash cams available on the market, but I did reach out to BlackVue and ask them if they wanted to provide this camera for this video, and they did send it to me free of charge. However, they have no input on this video. They don't get to see it before it gets published, and there was no money provided in exchange for making this video. So why did I pick this camera system? First of all, the main camera is 4K with 30 frames per second with HDR capabilities and night vision. So 4K gives me the highest resolution and quality if I'm gonna pull down any clips from this camera and use them in a video. So that was really important to me. Also, it has the second camera that's rear facing and can keep an eye on the cargo area. This wasn't in my needs list originally, but now after installing it and using it for a little bit, it is pretty awesome to have and to be able to keep a lookout on the backside of your rig as well. The next feature that I really wanted to have was ease of accessibility to the video files. I want to be able to pull down clips and use them in videos. This camera, I don't need to remove the SD card to get any of the video files off of it. I can install the BlackVue app on my phone and I can download those files when I'm close to my Jeep because it has Wi-Fi. The other thing is it's also connected to the Wi-Fi in my house. So when I arrive at home, I can open up the app or I can get the application on my computer and connect to the camera in my Jeep and grab any video clips that I want. The other bonus feature with this is that you can have it upload to the cloud if you want. And you can actually have the camera connect to an LTE hotspot on your phone. You can add an LTE module to it, or you can connect it to a Wi-Fi hotspot that you might have in your vehicle as well. And whenever an incident happens, it will automatically upload to the cloud and back it up. But being able to just grab the files without having to get on the device or pull the SD card out was super important for me. And then the next option that I really wanted was something that could capture events when I'm not in my Jeep. So I wanted a camera that would run all the time. And so this dash cam setup both has motion activation and impact activation, as well as continuous recording. So even when I'm not in my Jeep and driving, it is monitoring and watching things. And if something happens, it will record it. And when you get in your Jeep, it will actually tell you audibly that it recorded an incident while you're away. Now, if you have it connected to LTE, it can actually send you a message on your phone when something happens. You can log in and check the camera anytime you want from your device, which is awesome. What about draining your battery? Well, BlackVue's built in a voltage monitor to it, so it is monitoring the voltage coming off your battery, and you can set a couple different voltage levels that you want it to shut off at. Optionally, you can add in their power system to it, which is basically just a little battery backup. However, the actual power consumption of the device is quite low. During normal operations and with the Wi-Fi enabled, it's only consuming 400 milliamps per hour, and when it's in parking mode, so that's when you're monitoring your vehicle and away from it, if you have Wi-Fi on, it uses 365 milliamps per hour, or if you turn Wi-Fi off, it's 325 milliamps per hour. So it's not a huge drain, even if it's keeping an eye on your vehicle for quite a while. And if you don't use your vehicle for a few days, eventually it's gonna detect the voltage gets too low and just power down. So as I mentioned earlier, it does have a high resolution on the main camera of 4K and 1080p on the rear camera. So that's great image quality. Plus it's recording at 30 frames per second, so it looks like standard video. And I think the clips that'll come off the front camera at least will be good if something happens on the trail, and I'll be able to still show you guys if I missed it with my GoPro. So let's go check out how I installed it in the Jeep. Before we do that though, there is a link down in the description below if you want to check out all the features and specifications of this camera system and maybe pick one up for yourself. So installing this camera in the Wrangler was super easy, especially with the soft top, because I can basically just peel it back and get access to all of the roll bar trim panels, which made wiring this a breeze. As well, if you have the auxiliary switches in your Wrangler, you have a couple power wires that you can use right under the passenger side of your dash to power both the accessory wire and the always powered wire for this camera setup. So I mounted the camera here above my rearview mirror. It's nice and out of the way. You see it a little bit more on the passenger side, but from the driver's side, it's pretty tucked behind the mirror and it's not impeding my vision at all. And we have two wires that come off of it. One wire here goes all the way to the back of the Jeep where we have the rear camera mounted. And then we have the second power wire here, which is gonna provide both the accessory, always on power, and ground. There's also a really nice little gap right next to the mirror that you can feed the wires through. And all I had to do was pull down some of the trim panels, the grab bar handle, you can remove this panel, and then underneath the dash here on the passenger side, where you have your cable bundle for your auxiliary switches, there's also an additional two wires. One is accessory power and one is always on power, both with a 10 amp maximum draw. So plenty of power to power this camera up because it was like less than half an amp. So we just removed some of these trim panels, got access to those wires, soldered them in. The harness that it comes with has fuses on it already, so I didn't need to buy anything extra. And then we just grounded it out where there's some existing grounds here in the passenger footwell. As for getting the rear camera to the back, this is the mounting location that I chose. It was a good little spot. It's nice and inconspicuous, and it keeps a good eye on the cargo area and gives me the best point of view over top of the spare tire here. So it wasn't too hard to get this signal and power wire back here to this camera. You don't need anything other than the single wire. It is powered off the main unit. I just unbolted this trim panel, dropped it down, and then I zip tied it to an existing harness along the roll bar. So this is where having the soft top was nice because I was able to just pull the soft top back, which then gave me easy access to the rest of this trim along here on the passenger side. And I just ran the wire all through here. It's only a few screws and some pressure clips to remove all of this. And then I just had the wire follow the roll bar across. And when I was running the wire for the power over to the main unit for the camera, I just had them follow along. And I just zip tied everything really nice along with existing harnesses. So if you don't have auxiliary switches, you're gonna have to find a different way to tap into the accessory power and get battery power to that harness. The harness is quite long, so there's plenty of wire there to route it into the engine bay or other power sources for the accessory switch. So let's check out some of the video quality on this camera. The front camera is quite impressive. I feel that when we're out on the trail, if something happens and I miss it with my GoPro, I'm more than happy to put this 4K 30 footage into one of my vlogs. The back camera works pretty good. The angle is really kind of hard to deal with in the Wranglers because there isn't a good mounting location to go straight out the window. As well, we've got the giant spare there. The other thing is if I have the soft top off or somebody with sticky fingers decides to try to get into the back of the Jeep, they're gonna be right there on camera. I think this is a great setup. Having a 4K system with a second camera, with cloud features, GPS, Wi-Fi, it is a bit of a premium to purchase this, but I think it does provide a lot of value. And if you're looking for a really high quality multi-camera setup to protect your vehicle, this is definitely the way to go. And I'm more than happy to use this 4K footage in a future vlog if I capture something when I'm out on the trail and I didn't get it on one of my other cameras. I like that it has GPS built in, so it logs all of the speed as well as location that anything happens. I don't think I'm gonna add the LTE module to it. I think that the fact that it's recording all the time when I'm away from the vehicle is good enough for what I need. Also the feature that it's monitoring your battery voltage, that wasn't really something that I had on my needs list, but now seeing that this has this as a feature, I think that's really good because it will cut off before it drains your battery. Check it out down in the description below if you want to pick one up. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share it with your friends, subscribe because we upload every week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.